We're going to look at political visions, and in particular, Thomas Sowell's unconstrained and constrained visions. When it comes to politics and why people cling to certain viewpoints so earnestly to address pressing problems, economist and philosopher Thomas Sowell sets out two contrasting worldviews. These reflect very different understandings of human nature and helps us to explain how policies have come about that often hinder free markets. They are constrained and unconstrained visions. The two visions are described by Sowell as a difference between one that values inputs and the other outputs. There is some jargon to work through, so bear with me, but let's get going. Process characteristics are the inputs so highly valued by the constrained vision, which initiates processes in society over time without being certain of the outcomes. Through the constrained vision, incentives can be put in front of people. A great example is the Housing Act 1980, which was legislation that gave 5 million council tenants in England and Wales the legal right to purchase their house at a discount from the market prices from their local authority. Home ownership grew from 55% of the population in 1980 to 64% in 1987. No targets were set, and this change in home ownership numbers was driven from process characteristics or inputs. This is in contrast to results definition that prioritizes outputs over inputs in the unconstrained vision, whereby there is an aim towards a result or an outcome. In 2021, the Metropolitan Police Service, in an effort to diversify the racial mix of its force, set itself a target to have Black, Asian, and minority ethnic, BAME, officer representation at 28% by 2030. To achieve this, they were aiming to hire 40% of new recruits from BAME communities from 2022 to 23. Just 1 year later, in 2022, this policy was abandoned when recruitment collapsed and just under 4% of officers in the force were Black. This focus on results definition was very much of the unconstrained vision. So to run through a little bit of a cheat sheet here, I've got this table that describes some of the properties of each of these visions. So on the unconstrained vision side, we have justice being paramount and human nature being perfectible. Equality of opportunity and equality of outcome are both good. And then we contrast that on the other side of this table with the constrained vision, which sees a well-ordered society as more important than justice. And then human nature is flawed, but it needs to have boundaries. Also, equality of opportunity and no truck with equality of outcome. Then we have social good is intentional. It comes through good people acting altruistically with the unconstrained, whereas the constrained sees that social good comes through rules, such as obeying the law and respecting property rights. And this is regardless of the motivation. So you could do something good for society from selfish motives. And also we have on the unconstrained side that there's an emphasis that experts can help plan a well-managed society, whereas the contrast here is that competition in a spontaneous order will bring about good with the constrained vision. And reason and knowledge are there to regulate behavior for the unconstrained vision, whereas looking to collective wisdom and tradition are valued by the constrained vision. And lastly, there's a potential to equate fairness with sameness in the unconstrained, whereas the constrained encourages particularity in seeing that individuals have different talents and strengths and should be able to achieve what they wish. And you'll notice that I'm not talking here about left and right. I don't think those are terms that apply anymore. It is simply just to outline these two different worldviews, and sometimes there can be a little bit of overlap between what was traditionally left and right. But in this series of videos, I'm going to be talking about how these two worldviews have influenced the state of free markets and how economies are being managed and also how people have fared across the social strata according to policies that have been set. So stay tuned